I've often heard students say that they don't know the difference between university and school. I asked a few students who had finished their first year at university what they thought the three biggest differences were between school and university, which had a negative influence on their studies.
For me, it was the difference between the school teachers and lecturers' lessons, and also the responsibility to work hard and study is mine, and if I don't understand anything I have to ask the lecturers.
I think the huge difference is that coming to university, my friends and I really struggled with the volume of work and the time pressures and just keeping up with the deadlines. So sometimes I actually wish that I'd actually employed more time management at school and that someone may have taught me to do it or helped me manage my time better at school. It would have made things a lot easier.
The main difference between school and university is probably that I didn't keep such a healthy balance. I perhaps did a bit too much sport, which took up too much of my time in my time management.
Interesting. Balance and time management. Worldwide, this is one of the biggest dilemmas learners and students face. In this section, I'm going to help you with this. The best way of discussing time management is by compiling a few time schedules. Let's ask Prof. Charles Cellier to explain.
Yes, thank you very much. It's very interesting. Time management is one of the biggest challenges that students have. Many students know how to study, but it's very difficult for them often to do the planning of their time, especially when they get to university and they're faced with a lot of time challenges. So for this purpose, we've developed a sort of a three-phase plan, very simple but very effective, and I'm going to explain that to you. The first thing that's got to happen is you've got to take a big glance of the year, the challenges, the academic challenges of the year. So let's take this student, student X. She's a first-year student. She's taken the whole year and she's planned it, and she's indicated what are those things in this year where she will have to either give in assignments, hand in assignments, or write tests, or what the case may be. Let's take an example here. We see February. She's planned February. The first thing that she has to write in is the classes are starting on the 5th. She's going to attend a camp of the church. And then she's got on the 23rd, we see here, she's got a practical that she has to hand in a history. And on the 28th, she's writing sociology. So she does this with the whole year, with each month. The second thing she then does is she plans her week in a little bit more detail. So what we remembered in the year planner in February, there was that challenge of the history assignment that's got to be handed in on the 23rd. And she has estimated that she would need about 14 hours to prepare for that assignment. So all she has to do is she has to assign herself 14-hour slots during the week so that she can have it ready on the 23rd. Obviously, this is now additional to attending classes, to preparing for lectures, so she has to cater for that. Here we see, for instance, on the Monday, she can do extra work from 7 to 9, on Wednesday from 8 to 10, so forth, so forth. And she eventually sees she's got her 12 or 14 hours that she needs. She provides a little time to have it typed, and the next morning, 8 o'clock, she gives it in to be bound. She hands it in at 12, and it's done. But you remember the sociology test is still coming up, so take a break, but start preparing for that sociology. And she's even indicated here that on Sunday she's going to go to Brenda for a braai, so she's obviously got that balance ready. What's very important, apart from your year planner and your week planner, of course, is your exam planner. And this looks quite complicated, but it's very effective and relatively easy to do. It consists of two components. The first is to do an audit, to see what is it that I've got to do, what are the time constraints, etc., etc. What we see here in her case is she's decided she's going to revise history, sociology, and psychology. She then works out more or less how many pages will she have to revise in each of these subjects. She then determines how many pages per hour based on her experience she will need. There we see she needs for history 20 pages per hour, sociology and psychology. And then, of course, based on that information, how many hours would she need for each subject. Now, interesting discovery is she will have to revise 900 pages, and that's also a wake-up call. And she will need to do that. She'll need 65 hours of revision. Based on that information, she now goes and does the application. About 3 weeks before the time, She's decided on a Monday and a Tuesday and a Wednesday I can revise. The other days it's not possible. Here you see she's written down the dates. Then she's even written down the hours or the times during those dates that she's available. And she can complete this whole table that way. So let's take an example. Sociology, she wants to start revising. On Monday, the 7th of the 6th, she can work from 4 to 6 and 8 to 9, 3 hours. She knows that in hours she can do 20 pages, so 3 times 20 is 60, and so she works out the whole table. When you're finished with this, you're most probably going to discover that the available time, the time that you have available is going to be much less than the amount of time that you require. And my suggestion would be don't try and make the available time more, rather try and increase the amount of pages that you do per hour, because the quicker you learn, we saw earlier, the longer you remember. The last thing, you take this timetable, you put it on the fridge, you give it to your roommate, you put it on the door, you can even post it to your parents. Just imagine how impressed they would be if you do that. And you stick to this timetable. All right, that's the important thing. And the most important thing is relax and enjoy. You've planned everything, just stick to it, it's going to work.
You can adapt the time schedule to suit your needs. The fact is, you need it. Another good piece of advice is to get into the habit of studying regularly. Make it a habit, a routine that you simply must stick to. Keep a diary of your obligations and be organized in your daily life. Without good time management, you may end up looking like this chap. The question now is, how can I maintain a healthy balance and ensure that I do well academically? Let's look at the internationally accepted model for wellness. According to this model, we are holistic beings embodying 6 dimensions of wellness: intellectual, spiritual, emotional, physical, social, and career dimension. These dimensions are interwoven. For instance, if you are unhappy or frightened, in other words, the emotional dimension, it can have an influence on your physical condition. You shiver and feel nauseous. I'm sure you've had this experience. Have you heard of psychosomatic diseases? People with physical problems, but the cause does not lie in the body, but in the psyche, an emotional dimension. What has research taught us about this? We know that students who deliberately try being balanced in all the dimensions achieve better academic results. In other words, the intellectual dimension is advantaged. Depending on your time planning, you have, of course, sometimes to pay less attention to some of these dimensions. An example of this is to focus on your intellectual dimension during tests and exams and curb the social dimension. The message is very clear. Good academic results are not dependent on the intellectual dimension alone. Balance or wellness is the ideal. These 2 skills, namely effective time management and healthy balance or wellness, link well with the following section, which deals with wellness and stress.